So I had a couple people ask me about my take on the 250th Navy celebration that Trump spoke at this week. And they were concerned because they heard some cheers from a couple people in the crowd. And so let me give you some context on those cheers. He got some cheers when he announced that he would be thinking about giving them a pay raise. And I can probably promise you that any president who goes up in front of a bunch of military people and says like, hey, I'm thinking about giving you a pay raise, they'll probably get some cheers. And it wasn't even massive cheers. And then there were cheers whenever they showed the USS Iowa, right? And so that's a big deal because that is a seminal ship inside of Navy culture. But here's some things to think about as well. He also made them wait an extra hour before he got there because he was just kind of dilly-dallying around taking his. And then no active duty admiral or naval officer got up there and spoke. So think about that. That's 250th anniversary of the Navy, and no active duty military officer or leader is going to go up there and speak next to Trump. So it's kind of like, the silent room in Quantico. They're not going to be up there on stage with him and give him that kind of prop. And finally, this wasn't just something to celebrate Trump. It was the 250th celebration of the Navy. And even the chief of naval operations said planning has been in on this for a year, and it would have happened with or without him. And so once again, Trump jumped in on an opportunity to get some camera time and to get in front of a crowd and try to take over and spread his message. Like, the guy is a parasite. He's an absolute parasite. So he got some cheers for saying like, hey, I'm going to give you more money. The USS Iowa, pictures and video of a ship got cheers. He was an hour late. No active duty leader would get up there with him. And he basically just kind of threw himself at the party just to get himself some FaceTime. So don't read too much into it. The Navy doesn't, suddenly support Trump. I'm not saying there aren't Trump supporters inside the Navy. There are Trump supporters inside of each military service for, absolutely. Like, there's no doubt about that. That's just not the way. You can't wave a wand and get those assholes out. But way more of them are like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, yeah, give me a pay raise, but what the fuck are you doing here? The center of a global PDF network who has repeated instances of shitting all over the military. John McCain, who's a legend, POWs, Gold Star families, having soldiers on their hands and knees in front of Putin, rolling out red carpet, like all these things. Like, they understand that. And of course, now he's shut down, the government, so they're not getting paid.
Hey guys, it's Leash. Listen. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to see the 250th anniversary of the Navy today, but it was ridiculous to say the least. So between Hegseth saying that he was blessing at the end of his speech, God bless the Republic, talking about America, then playing some crazy ass music that sounded like it was just like made up for an SNL skit. It's like, America, you must be American. I mean, I'm completely paraphrasing, but that's basically what it was. Then playing, oh, I wish I were in the land of cotton. And then Trumpy Bear getting up there basically saying that this was a rally. This was a rally for him. And then he walks off to YMCA, of course. I mean, of course. Guys, what? I thought we were celebrating the Navy. 250 years. And this is what the Navy gets? What a shame. What a shame.
This is so incredibly dangerous. This is the President of the United States speaking to the United States Navy. It's not cute. It's not neat. It's not fun. This is our country. We have innocent men and women that are serving in the United States Army that care about this country, that went into it for a career. This is the shit they have to listen to. Play the clip.
Politically correct anymore. And history will never forget that it was the SEALs who stormed the compound at Osama bin Laden and put a bullet in his head. Remember that? And please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden exactly 1 year ago, 1 year before he blew up the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to watch Osama bin Laden. And the fake news would never let me get away with that statement unless it was true. But I said 1 year before to Pete Hegseth, I said 1 year before, where's Pete? In the book, I wrote, whatever the hell the title, I can't tell you. But I can tell you there's a page in there devoted to the fact that I saw somebody named Osama bin Laden, and I didn't like it, and you got to take care of him. They didn't do it. A year later, he blew up the World Trade Center. So we got to take a little credit because nobody else is going to give it to me. You know the old story? They don't give you credit, just take it yourself. And it was the U.S. Navy that dumped his wretched corpse.
That's enough. This is advanced stage right here, as far as I'm concerned. Pete Hegseth would have been 21 years old when 9/11 occurred. And Donald Trump was the one that right after 9/11 went on national television and said, now I have the tallest building in New York, which was false. But of course, he had to make it about him and somehow an extension of his compensatory language that he uses to compensate for, I would assume, rectile issues per Stormy Daniels. But this is the United States military. And then he goes on to trigger half of the country and to blame half of the country for the problems.
Now, Trump then went fully political with the Navy, saying we have a little gnat and we've got to get it off our shoulder. That gnat is called the Democrats.
But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it.
Millions. They can't do it. This is a disgusting speech. And another, I hate how many boxes we're checking out of the authoritarian playbook. Another thing authoritarians love to do, because they recognize that being able to get away with it often depends on, is the military on your side or isn't the military on your side? Authoritarians love to propagandize to the military. And part of it is also about inducing fear. It's not just propagandizing to the military to try to get them on your side genuinely, but it's also about making them wonder, if I'm not on Trump's side, if I don't go out and do his bidding, whatever it might be, what consequences might I suffer? It's a way that authoritarians get the military in line because they know they need the military.
God bless the United States Navy.
Celebrating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Navy, President Trump spoke to a sea of sailors, mostly working without pay.
And I want you to know that despite the current Democrat-induced shutdown, we will get our service members every last penny.
But for other federal employees, the president's threatening mass layoffs.
It's up to them. Anybody laid off, that's because of the Democrats.
Democratic lawmakers say they won't vote to fully reopen the government until there's an agreement to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies. They don't expire until the end of the year, so Republicans say there's still time.
We're not saying that we won't negotiate it. We're saying turn the lights back on in Congress.
But Democrats argue now is the time.
The crisis doesn't start in January. Starting October 1st, millions of Americans are getting notices that their health care premiums are dramatically increasing.
A KFF analysis finds premiums for those on Obamacare would more than double on average if subsidies run out. And 80% of those subsidies are going to people in states Trump won, like Georgia, where Amy Bielowski runs a small entertainment business and uses the subsidies to help pay for health insurance. While she works to bring joy to families with her balloon animals, behind the scenes, she worries if she can afford a pricier premium.
I'm fearful every day of what's next. Priority is to have a place to live. So maybe health insurance goes by the wayside at that point.
But with health issues related to her thyroid, the idea of going uninsured is a scary one.
I think this is probably the first time in my life that I've ever felt like nobody really cares about me. If you die, who cares? Doesn't matter. We're expendable.
Now, the Senate's expected to take votes again today on the Republican and Democratic proposals to reopen the government, but neither is expected to pass. Speaker Mike Johnson says he's not bringing back the House until the Senate votes to reopen the government. Could be a while.
Everybody, I'm Seth Meyers. This is Late Night. We hope you're doing well. And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump attended an event yesterday honoring the 250th anniversary of the Navy, despite being famously bad around water. During his speech yesterday at the Naval Station Norfolk to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Navy, President Trump said that he has to be careful walking downstairs because, quote, one day I'm going to probably fall. Apparently there was some mix-up and his speech got switched with my Nana's. During the same speech, President Trump apparently couldn't remember the name of his own book and said, quote, whatever the hell the title, I can't tell you. No, you got it right. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth helped break the Guinness World Record for most people doing push-ups simultaneously for 1 minute over the weekend at a Navy football game. Hegseth also holds the Guinness World Record for most Guinness. President Trump last night appealed a federal judge's order blocking him from sending National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon. Oh my God, they don't want you there. What's the National Guard even going to do in Portland? Join a throuple? In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump said that the FCC should, quote, look into NBC's broadcast license. Well, I'm not surprised. He's been pretty clear about how much he hates Chicago. Television host Bill Nye demonstrated outside the U.S. Capitol today to protest the Trump administration's proposal to cut 47% of NASA's science budget because without science, he's just Bill Nye, the guy. The U.S. Treasury announced last week it will release a silver dollar with President Trump's image on both sides of the coin. Looks like we got a bunch of people going to order it. Also, it's heads on both sides, so we can't even use it to decide which country to move to. Okay, heads, it's Portugal. Oh, no. In a post over the weekend on Truth Social, President Trump claimed that no business or individual wants to be in New York State because of Attorney General Letitia James. Yes, that's my one complaint about New York. There's nobody here. President Trump posted a video on Truth Social last week that appears to show a strike on a boat allegedly carrying drugs off the coast of Venezuela. Officials claim the boat was loaded with over 30 kilos of Tylenol. Organizers in Denver hosted a Taco Bell Ultra Marathon where participants stop and eat at 9 Taco Bell locations over a 31-mile course and must order a Chalupa Supreme by the 4th stop.
We're getting treated to so many flyovers. I think I might be able to ask Trump if I could have one for my birthday. And I think he might seriously consider it. A massive waste of taxpayer money, but I'm just saying I'm going to be 50 in a few years. Have you ever seen the military cheer for a commander-in-chief like this? Probably not since right after the Iraq situation or 9/11 have you seen so much enthusiasm. Remember, it was Joe Biden who fell on his face at West Point. I do think that Barack Obama, Hussein Obama, might like to take issue with the doctor saying that Trump is in better shape than he is. I don't know what his medical history is, but Trump has more energy. And Trump works much harder. And you've never seen a guy his age do thing to thing to thing, stay up and just talk and be accessible and be active. He puts Barack Obama to shame on that front. And I'm glad the Navy's getting some love because it is the reason why we were able to project so much power to all corners of the world and keep our enemies on the defensive in their territory. And that's why we have to build more ships. Let's go.
So the president at the 250th anniversary of the Navy wants to get on stage and call Democrats gnats and then get rid of the gnats. He's talking about over half of the population, over half of the Americans. And people think that that's normal, that he gets up there and just says something like that. People applaud it because it's exciting to them. They like the drama, the chaos. They want to feel like they're owning the libs, right?